I love creating beautiful floral embellishments and backgrounds on my layouts, and the Altenew Creativity Kit makes it easy to do so. Check out this layout and more on the Victoria Marie YouTube channel. Welcome back to the Victoria Marie YouTube channel. If you are new around here, welcome. I'm so glad to have you. And if you like all things scrapbooking and crafting, make sure you hit that subscribe button as well as the little bell. That way YouTube will let you know every time I post a new video to this channel. In this video, I'm sharing a project that I created as a guest designer for March 2020 for Altenew using their creativity kit called Beloved Memories. Be sure to stay tuned to the end of the video so you can learn how you can win a $20 e-gift certificate to Altenew, so you can pick out a fantastic stamp set. I think you guys will love it if you haven't already tried them. So let's go ahead and dig into this project. So they sent me the creativity kit called Beloved Memories, and this kit includes a few things. You get this beautiful stamp set, which features some floral as well as leaves and some sentiments. There is a coordinating die called Cherished Memories Die Set that will cut out those really beautiful flowers and the leaves. There's also this word sentiment that says you are loved. That's one complete die that you can use to create that die cut. There's also the creativity edges. This is the lace die, so this is perfect not only for cards but also for scrapbook pages as well. Love that die, very pretty. I'm going to use that on this project. And then there is this stencil called the Filling Dotty stencil. There's nothing like having a really good dotted stencil in your stash. Inside of this guide includes instructions on how to create a couple of projects using the kit, which I think is very helpful, especially if you need a creative jumpstart as you're using new products. So I have two photos. This is of me and my spouse on a date night, and I'll get to that story here in just a few. Those photos are trimmed down roughly about 3 by 3. I also have a piece of heavy white cardstock and a piece of black and white striped cardstock as well. I'm trying to decide, do I want to use the A side or the B side? I'm going to stick with that black and white stripe. For this project, I'm going to create a set of flowers using the stamp and the die set. I'm going to heat emboss them in white embossing powder against black cardstock. And that's going to give it a really, really fun look. You don't always have to color in these images. You can always use heat embossing techniques to do so. And I like doing so against a dark background. So I have some white heat embossing powder, some black cardstock, some Nuvo Clear Mark embossing ink, as well as an acrylic stamp. I'm going to start out by using a powder tool, and I'm going to cover my paper with a little bit of powder. That way the embossing powder doesn't stick to places that I don't want it to. I'm going to go ahead and mount up my stamp and ink that up using the embossing ink and just press that against my background. You can also paint against a dark background as well, and some really good paint that works on this would be maybe some metallic watercolor. It will look really pretty too, but you can just leave it unpainted, and that's what I'm going to do for this project. I'm also going to stamp the leaves as well, and I try to stamp as many images as I can. Once I have my images stamped up, I'm going to take my white heat embossing powder, and I'm going to apply that over that stamped image with the embossing ink. Now the cool thing about this technique is that you don't have to color in the image if you don't feel like it. You can certainly color in images using dark backgrounds like black, navy blue, that type of thing. You can use color pencils, metallic watercolors, all fantastic for that purpose. But sometimes it just looks really cool uncolored, and so you can use not only white heat embossing powder, but heat embossing powder of other colors as well, which would look really awesome against a black background or a dark background. So now that my images are heat embossed, I'm going to trim them down just a little bit because I'm going to use my small die cutting machine to cut them out. Normally when I'm working on projects like this, I like to stamp a whole bunch of images and then die cut them out all in one setting. So that way I can use them on any project, not just scrapbooking projects, but cards and that type of thing. So I'm going to grab the Cherished Memories die. I'm going to select the die that coordinates with the flower. So you get 2 of the floral dies because there's 2 floral stamp designs. And then you get 3 leaf designs. So I'm going to go ahead and add a little bit of purple tape to hold that die into place. I'm going to run my flowers through my die cutting machine. Once that's done, I'm going to pull that away from the die, and there we go. That looks really cool, and I'll repeat this process again for the leaves. Again, using some purple tape to hold the die in place. Now this time I have 2 of the leaf designs on one pass, so I have one leaf that's slightly larger than the other. and of course adhere the dies down using the purple tape, and I'm going to run that through my little die cutting machine. And there we go. I've got my heat embossed leaves and my heat embossed flowers, and I'll repeat those steps again until I have all the leaves and flowers that I need for this project. All right, so we're going to speed things up and get the layout done. I'm going to go ahead and set up the background as well as the layers behind the photos. So I'm going to take some scrap paper that I have hanging around. I want to say this may have been from a Felicity Jane kit. As you can see, they've been used, but I'm going to try to cover up the spots that have the little stars cut out of it and see if I can just use a bit of that paper to back my photos with. I want a little bit of a yellow border behind one of the flowers, and then I want the polka dot border behind the other. So I'm going to trim those up. Next up, what I want to do is I want to add a bit of foam to the back of those flowers, but first I want to get this stripe pattern paper down on the background. And that breaks up the white space just a little bit. Before I get everything all heated up, I did go ahead and cut out one of the borders, or cut out a border from the border die. And what that's going to do is it's going to serve as an anchor for my photo. So those types of dies are perfect for scrapbooking pages. I have some things that I pulled from my stash that I may consider for a title and for some other things. So I'm just going to set those to the side as I get the background and the photos set up. I'm going to add a little bit of fun foam to the back of the photos, adding just a tiny bit of height and dimension there. Also, this will allow me to tuck some of the flowers there to the top, as well as the bottom and some other embellishments if I so choose. Now I'm going to go ahead and lay down the scallop border, and then I decide I need to go ahead and move that down just a little bit. I'm trying to lift it up as softly as I can so I don't rip the background. And then of course I don't get it straight. So I got to get it straight. I do not have an eye for straight. I'm going to go ahead and get the photos laid down, and they're kind of layering over each other, and that works well. All right, now here comes the really fun part, and all of those flowers that I stamped and die cut, I'm going to go ahead and position them. And they're going to go down in a vertical fashion down the layout. So I'm going to add a little bit of adhesive to the back of each flower. Now I love heat embossing because it adds a lot of texture. And even if you just use this element, it adds so much interest to the page. You don't need a whole lot of embellishing, and you'll see that here in a second. So I'm adding adhesive to the flower and the leaves and tucking them in and just going ahead and sticking those right on the background. I could pop them up with a little bit of foam, but I have my photos popped up, so I felt these were okay, just being adhered flat to the background. So there goes cluster number one, and look how beautiful together those stamp images work. I mean, it's just gorgeous, a gorgeous cluster of flowers. Now I'm going to do the same at the bottom. This time I'm adding 3 flowers, trying to decide where I want the flowers to go, and just tucking and gluing and creating these gorgeous clusters. There is no rhyme or reason. I just layer and cluster until it looks right to me. I love the design of those leaves. It's just beautiful. Again, you don't have to color these images. You can use heat embossing or other techniques to create the same look. All right, so let's go ahead and move on to the title. So I'm going to use some die cuts from an older Felicity Jane kit, but before I do that, I want to stamp out of the same stamp set that the flowers belong to. I'm going to stamp a sentiment that says, "My best memories are the ones we made together." And this was a rare date night for me and my spouse. We just decided to go out and see Bad Boys 3 and went to Cheesecake Factory for dinner. We had gotten a gift card to Cheesecake Factory for my brother for Christmas. And so we had a free dinner, and then I also had a gift card to AMC. So we went downtown Fort Worth and had a lovely evening. It was just great to be out without our kid and all the other responsibilities that we have. And we had a really good night. And interestingly enough, we don't always take a lot of photos together. So anytime that we do, I like to make sure that I scrapbook them. All right, so I have the title laid down. That's a die cut from Felicity Jane called Thankful. And then I have this ampersand that also is from Felicity Jane. And I'm going to adhere that, as I shopped it around the page, to the right-hand side by the title. I'm just going to tuck that in, and that looks beautiful. Now I'm going to add 2 labels, one that says "Isn't Life Sweet?" and the other one's going to say "Friends." So this first blue one says "Isn't Life Sweet?" I'm going to pop that up to the top left above the left side photo just to add a little bit of blue. And then I will add the other label that says "Friends" right above it. Usually when I'm working on a layout, I like to pick out 2 or 3 really dominant colors. And this one, the black and white, really inspired me. But of course, black and white are neutral colors, so I could use any color to accent. And I really love the soft mint greens and the pinks and things I'm going to use here in just a second. So I pull out some thickers embellishments from my stash. And I pulled some, or I selected some hearts from this little sticker set. I'm going to position those around the layout. So one there at the top by the two labels that say Friends and Isn't Life Sweet, and then one on top of the ampersand. I'm going to put one by the word Thankful, but at this point I'm feeling that that little cluster needs a little something else, so I grab a blue heart because there's blue at the top, blue on the side, and so I need a little bit of blue at the bottom. And with that, my layout is done. I love this Altenew stamp set. It has everything that you need to create fun projects, not just cards, but also scrapbook pages and traveler's notebooks or any other creative project that you can think of to use these stamped images. Also, it's very simple to create a beautiful floral design just using heat embossing techniques. Look how lovely those flowers and those leaves are. Oh, I just love it. Now, if you want to win a $20 gift certificate to Altenew, all you have to do to play is leave a comment in the comment section, and I will select a winner at random on March 22nd who will receive this awesome gift certificate, and you can use that towards the purchase of an Altenew stamp kit or any Altenew products. So if you want to play, make sure you leave a comment down in the comment section below. I want to give a big thank you to Altenew for having me as their guest designer. If you haven't already, make sure you subscribe to the Victoria Marie YouTube channel. When you do, click the bell. That way YouTube will let you know every time I post a new video. Thanks for stopping by.